Okay everyone, so I thought I would go ahead and get started with our first video today just to get into the video making mode here. And I thought I'd start with something fairly simple, our cotton facial rounds or reusable cotton balls. We've been making these for, I want to say a little over a year now. They really were born out of a way to utilize all of our scraps. Those of you who know me know that we generate a lot of scraps and I hate to throw anything away, especially fabric. So in our effort to use ever smaller scraps and the ever-growing piles of scraps, Jackie and I developed these reusable cotton balls or facial rounds. And apparently other people had been making them and I just was not aware of it as a product. It's one of those things where you think about something, oh, I should be replacing those too. So in our search to replace the disposables in our house and come up with a way to use scraps, we developed these. They are approximately 2.5 inches around. They are generally round. We cut them into 2.5-inch squares and then serge them, which those of you who are aware of serging corners know it's sort of an art. So they are round. They tend to be round. They come in all of the fabrics that we make most of our products out of because they come from the scraps. So they come in a variety of different options for those of you who like different things. Some of them are better for some things than others, and we'll go over that. So the first is our flannel. We come up with the most flannel. We use it for our menstrual pads, our incontinence products, our cloth diapers. It's used in everything. And you've probably seen the pictures I've posted of my bolts and bolts and bolts of flannel. So we have lots of flannel scraps. And this is a fun way to use them. You get to use up lots of different prints and colors. They're kind of fun to sew. They're fun to see sitting out on the counter and fun to use. The kids like to use them and pick their favorite for the day, whatever they're going to use. Oh, I like this one. So they're usually a print on the front and a solid on the back. They are 3 layers thick just to boost the absorbency. Usually we use the ugly prints on the inner layer or solids, so you don't see that one. They are quilted down the center to hold the 3 layers together so that they don't bubble or become oddly shaped over time. And we try and use a decorative stitch to do the quilting in the center. And they stack nicely in, you see I have here my always loved mason jars, and they just sit on the counter and you can pull one out whenever you need to for applying medicine, removing makeup, and things like that. So these are the cotton flannel. These are cotton Sherpa. They have been really popular right now. I don't know if someone shared this listing somewhere, but we can hardly keep up with them. Sherpa, if you're not familiar with it, is sort of a fleecy material. It feels like the fleece lining you would find in a coat, but it is cotton. It's very absorbent and puffy and soft. Because of how thick it is, we only make these in 2 layers instead of 3. They would just be kind of overkill if we had them in 3 layers. They are also quilted down the center though. And this has a great scrub factor. These are fantastic for removing fingernail polish, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the uses after. We have the bamboo flannel, and this is a really limited fabric. We found it at a steal about a year ago, and we haven't used a whole lot of it, but we have used it in pads and things, so we do have scraps for it. When this flannel is gone, it will be gone. Unfortunately, the price of bamboo flannel has skyrocketed, and so we won't be able to purchase it any longer for making these products. So that's something to bear in mind if you find you really like the bamboo flannel. It's got a much silkier texture than cotton flannel. It also tends to be have a little less body, so you can see it's a little softer and flimsier. Some people really like that, especially for the menstrual and incontinence products, just because it conforms. Some people prefer the firm texture of regular flannel so that it holds its shape a little better. These don't necessarily hold their shape, but they are very soft. They have that silky feel. And of course, bamboo is a renewable resource because it grows so rapidly and can be cut down many times and reused with a lot less waste and agricultural byproducts than cotton. So flannel or bamboo is a really good choice if you would like an environmentally friendly fabric. And as I said, these are fairly limited. We probably have 2 bolts of this fabric left, and when it's gone, it will be gone. Then we also have just the regular undyed natural cotton. If you are sensitive to dyes, or if you would like to avoid products that contain the dye process. This is certified natural cotton that has been, it is unbleached, undyed, and very simple. It tend to stain to a greater extent than some of the other fabrics, but it is very environmentally friendly, and if you're sensitive to other things, this would probably be what I would recommend. And then we have our velour, cotton velour. Those of you who are familiar with our ladywear products know that we use this to back some of them. It is backed in flannel on this side. These are also 3 layers thick. All of the flannels are 3 layers thick, just to help boost absorbency and the firmness of the round. The velour is a very soft velvety material, so it feels a lot like velvet. It's very absorbent. This is great for if you put on facial creams or eye creams, serums. It's very soft, so you're not going to have any rubbing here. If you're a woman, you worry a little bit about those wrinkles. This is a great material for that. It's also very soft for putting medication on boo-boos for kids. It's just kind of a really soft, gentle fabric. I don't recommend this for removing nail polish because the velour is not a very stable fabric. It is combined with polyester. It has a 10 to 20% polyester content on top of the cotton, and that it's the backing. So it's not something that actually would touch you, but it is the backing that provides stability for the cotton fibers. And polyesters sometimes react poorly, especially to acetone-based nail polish removers. They tend to almost melt, and so you might find that it damages your pad over time. So if you are going to be using it with particularly an acetone-based nail polish remover, I would not recommend the cotton velour. And then the last option we have are our bamboo fleeces, and we always serge these in a fun variety of colors. Bamboo fleece is sort of like the fleece you would feel inside of a good quality sweatshirt or sweatpants. It is bamboo, so it's 70% bamboo and 30% cotton. It's not quite as puffy as the cotton Sherpa, but very close. So these are also only 2 layers thick, fairly equal in absorbency. Bamboo is a very absorbent fiber, more so than cotton even. It will hold a lot of moisture. So I really like these 2 choices for applications where you would need to both hold a lot of liquid and put a lot of liquid on. So if you apply toners, witch hazel, if you have hemorrhoids, you can pour witch hazel on these and use these in replacement of Tux medicated pads. That's basically all a Tux pad is, and then you can wash it and reuse it, and these hold a lot of liquid. So they can be very soothing and last you a long time that way. And so we'll talk a little bit about some of the uses. Like I said, you can use them to replace Tux medicated pads, obviously to replace cotton balls in any situation where you would use a cotton ball, applying medication, removing makeup, applying facial toners. Something to bear in mind, if you use these for removing nail polish, there are some benefits. You don't get the cotton streaks all over you. The same thing can happen when using some makeup removers. Your cotton ball tends to fall apart, but it's especially true when removing fingernail polish and you get little pieces of cotton ball stuck to your nails and it's kind of a gooey mess. These don't fall apart like that. So these are excellent for removing nail polish or scrubbing stubborn eyeliner and things like that, so you don't get bits of cotton all over your face. However, if you use these particularly for removing nail polish, know that they will stain and that their life will be more limited. Because nail polish is an enamel, it will harden somewhat on them. Of course, you can soak them in nail polish remover or keep them in a little a shallow glass dish with some nail polish remover and just use them like you would a nail polish remover sponge. But over time, they are going to break down a little more quickly because of the nail polish remover is a pretty harsh chemical, and they are going to stain, and there's not really a good way to wash them out. Also, if you use them for nail polish remover, you do not want to put them in your dryer. When you are washing them, you can hand wash them. You can probably still wash them in your washer, although you might not want to wash them with other fabrics. But nail polish remover can be flammable, and if any residue remains on them and there is some vapor in the dryer, it could potentially cause a fire risk. So I recommend you do not dry them in your dryer if you use them for nail polish remover. For the rest of them, you can wash and dry them normally, just like you would with your regular clothing, especially if you don't have nail polish remover on them. Everything else is pretty much safe to wash with your regular clothes. I do recommend using a lingerie bag, simply because they're so tiny that they can easily get sucked into the vacuum pump of your washing machine when it's pulling the water out, or into your lint catcher in your dryer, and cause some mechanical problems. And even if they don't, you're losing your little rounds. So I keep one of these. I actually have netting, and had the intention of sewing more appropriately sized lingerie bags for all these tiny products, these and the interlabial petals, and I've never gotten to that. Some of my good intentions that I stay so busy sewing everything else I haven't made them. So I cheated. I even went and bought my own lingerie bag just from the dollar store. They're fairly inexpensive. You can find them at most retailers pretty cheaply. And I throw my soiled rounds and interlabial petals and everything else, because I'm not a laundry separator, into a bag, and when it's about half full, I throw it in the washing machine with a regular load of laundry. So I don't use fabric softener, so I don't have to worry too much about that. Fabric softener will coat the fibers of all of your absorbent reusable products, and over time they will both pick up an odor and also become less absorbent. Because of the way fabric softener works, it smooths the fibers, and so it actually retains. That's why they brag about the smell clinging onto your towels for so long with fabric softener. It stays on the fibers, it coats them much like conditioner coats your hair, and over time will create a residue that makes them less absorbent. So I don't recommend fabric softeners. There are natural fabric softeners such as wool dryer balls, or if you put a little vinegar in your wash, that also acts as a natural fabric softener and static reducer. So that's an option for washing them. You can also put them in a cheap pair of pantyhose or damaged pair of pantyhose and wash them like that if you don't want to have to buy a lingerie bag. Just tie it up and stick them all in there and tie it up and wash them like that. So that's another effective use if you don't have one of these and don't want to buy one. Also sorry, I'm trying to remember everything I want to tell you. When you wash them, I don't recommend bleach. Bleach obviously will bleach out the color on your flannel rounds. But also bleach is really harsh and it will damage the fibers over time. You won't get as long of a life out of your products. There are natural bleach alternatives. Of course, the oxygen-based cleaners can be used safely. Lemon juice and baking soda make excellent bleach alternatives. If you're really concerned about staining, you might throw them out in the sunlight for a while. The sun is a natural bleacher. So there's some other options. You can use bleach on all of these fibers. It's not going to damage them. They're not, none of these are wool-based, so it won't hurt any of them. But over time, it will break them down more rapidly than a standard detergent. So other than that, I don't recommend anything special for them as far as getting them clean and reusing them. Just throw them back on your counter and use them over again. If you have any questions about these or are interested in cutting one more disposable product out of your life, I sell these in sets of 13 on my Etsy shop and also on MamaBear, babywear.com. Thank you.